Today in the crypto space, we see the market taking a dip to the downside. Bitcoin down approximately 2% and Ethereum also down approximately 2.5%. Both heavyweights are coming down to lower levels and pulling the rest of the market down with it. The altcoins are coming down deep in the red. We have a few major dips here: AVAX, Near Protocol, ICP, and many others. Guys, in today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I think we should be focusing on the general market, on what's happening with Bitcoin, what's happening with Ethereum, and ultimately what's happening with this Bitcoin dominance, because as the market falls, we need to prepare our portfolios. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. And the best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with this market. Generally speaking, you can see that the market is taking a bit of a hit. Market cap is coming down approximately 2.5%, more or less. However, look at the trading volume. It's not falling, it's not rising. It's not rising, and it is slightly on the downside, meaning that there's not a lot of people trading into this market at the current moment, which means the overall consensus of the market is not there, despite the volatility to the downside. So what does that mean? If you consider that nobody's getting into shorts, you know, not many individuals are getting into shorts, you know, the trades that I like to get into are the ones that have a lot of the market involved. And as you can see, there's not a lot of it. So what do we say about this dip? I don't trust it. I don't really trust it. However, we do have some bearish targets that we need to be aware of. Of course, today we'll take a look at Bitcoin. I feel like we need to give a bit of a quick look at what Ethereum's doing. We'll take a look at the Bitcoin dominance, and we'll get a sense of what this general market is doing for the next couple of days, because of course we're leading into the weekend, and the weekend is one of those times where we should kind of take a break, because really the order books are so thin, volatility's in. Those opportunities definitely could be there to buy dips, especially, you know, as we get the volatility to the downside. But guys, just understand, as those order books are very thin, we get volatility to the upside and to the downside, so be very careful. All right, guys, let's kind of scrape through this top 100. You see Bitcoin coming down, Ethereum coming down, breaking structure to the downside. Guys, the break of structure to the downside is obviously a scary thing, because once you start breaking structure, you start looking for other horizontal levels of support that could actually act as a structural supports in the future. So that's why we have to kind of look at where could Bitcoin be heading before we want to take a bit of risk. Now 65k is a good level. There's a bit of a scenario there that we could hold support, but there's levels, guys, levels below, right around 60,000 that are still very possible. We do have BNB still holding steady, looking very strong as it's going sideways. The market is dipping and this thing's still going sideways. Solana broke structure to the downside, and you can see that the majority of the market right now, as we speak, is breaking structure. They're all making lower lows, guys. Lower lows and lower highs. Here we come. Uniswap looking okay, but dipped down. It's up 1% for the day, but still rolling over a little bit, you know. And you can see Near Protocol dipping down 17.5% in 7 days. Guys, those dips, those double-digit dips that I talk about, they need to be taken advantage of. Okay, guys. So if you've been on the sidelines waiting for opportunities, this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity. Okay, so be looking for those horizontal supports. And if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to join me live tonight at 7:30 Eastern. Make those requests and I'll pull up the charts and we'll come up with a plan, because I think as we come down to those levels, we're gonna want to find those, you know, those bottoms, those floor prices, and those floor prices are opportunities where we could build structure, and then we can get in with a nice stop loss, and then we can start accumulating within those structures. Caspa still looking strong despite the negativity. It's still within structure, guys. No lower lows, right? You can see the difference. A lot of these guys are making those lower lows. Look at Aptos, look at Monero Monero's looking okay too, but the hang time, look at that hang time. You could put a stop loss underneath those bottoms, and yes, you can get into a long, but be careful because the market is looking weak. This is the problem. This is why I look at Ethereum and Bitcoin for those leading indications that maybe the market's looking for a rollover, and really at this point getting into a fresh long on any altcoins is very, very risky, right? We do see that for example, Manto's looking for the break of the previous lows, breaking structure across the market. OKB didn't break any structure just yet, could be around the corner, very possible. Injective as well, coming down to the previous low, maybe looking for that break of structure so that it comes down further, because look at all these structural breaks everywhere, lower lows and lower highs everywhere except for Notcoin, up 10.3% for today, although it is in a bit of a retracement in the short term, but for the daily it's looking pretty good. I don't think any of these altcoins are gonna withstand the wrath of Bitcoin if it does come down much lower, but at the end of the day we do see Notcoin looking pretty good. As we continue, you see a lot of these altcoins doing a very similar thing, a very cookie cutter stamped out type of scenario. They're all looking pretty much identical, making those lower lows and falling to those lower levels. And again, this is why, guys, stop losses are important, and we've been calling those these breakdowns for the last couple of days. In fact, the last 2 days I've been saying, guys, impulsive move, sideways price action, bear flag, impulsive move, and it looks like this is what we're getting, the next impulsive move to the downside. It could be a failed breakdown, but as of now it looks like we're ready to continue coming down for that next leg. All right, guys, let's continue. I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin taking a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin broke structure, guys. It broke structure, the thick white line. Last night we talked about maybe, hopefully, there's a possibility that we can close that daily candle above the thick white line. It didn't happen. We closed below, and then all of a sudden we continued to the downside. Guys, this is very typical. Very, very, very typical. Let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Guys, obviously I want to focus on Bitcoin a little bit more today. I usually cover all kinds of altcoins on a daily basis, but sometimes we need to say, we basically need to focus. The focus right now should be in Bitcoin. What could Bitcoin be doing? Because if Bitcoin continues coming down, it will drag the average cost down across the market. The market cap will come down, the total market cap. Now, one thing that I'm keeping in mind is the fact is that we broke below the structure. We didn't backtest the structure just yet, right? We didn't backtest the breakdown, which still very possible, a backtest confirmation, and then all of a sudden continuation down, but all possible, not guaranteed. We do have a small little volume gap right into here. It's not the weakest volume gap, but it's there. Could we get us a bounce? Possible, right? But what would get me interested? Structure. Let's get something happening here, right? And I'm going to show you the momentum in the trend oscillator. There's nothing there right now on the daily suggesting that we're going to get a support zone right here, but it could be possible. Even if it's a short-term bounce based on the 4-hour, maybe even the 1 hour, a bit of relief, back test, and then come down. We can come down to about 64,400, get that support, back test the breakdown, get a rejection, and come down. Ultimately, what I'm looking at is this bottom right here. This is what I'm looking at. If I were to get into a bearish stance, which we all should be right now, short-term bearish, because you can see we broke that bullish structure and we're coming down. We do see a level that we could still be very, very, very interesting in the sense that shoulder, head, shoulder, inverse head and shoulder. And ultimately, we'll be respecting this bigger structure, which is a nice bull flag coming out of this nice, impulsive move, sideways price action continuation. Now, all of a sudden, we start looking at, we could be testing previous lows. We could come down to the range lows at about 60,500 at worst case scenario, test this level right around here, get that bounce, and then get right back to range highs, which is at back to about 72,000. And ultimately, that would satisfy this bull flag and get this bull flag reaching to much higher levels in the immediate short term. So what we really need to do is understand that in the short term we're coming down, in the long term we still could be bullish because we're maintaining a structure, a big picture structure. In the short term, guys, anticipate that it could come down. I am preparing my portfolio economically, of course, preparing to have those stables ready to go to be buying the dips, that I'm going to be raising capital through short-term trading, through private funds, of course, whatever the case may be, whatever you feel like doing to basically fund your account, this is the time to take a bit of risk, because if we do come down to this level, expect those altcoins to be deep in the red. And this is accumulation time, guys. Is the bull run coming around? Are we going to continue for the next leg up? It's very, very possible that we are. Of course, there's no certainties, but guys, this is the time to get bullish, of course, and expect those peaks and valleys, those ebb and flows of the market, those pullbacks, which we are in right now, to come around. And ultimately, I'm expecting a September continuation, September, October, to see this thing continue flying. Now, the market could, throw a curveball and make this thing happen much sooner. Obviously, we can have it throughout the summer. Any moment, August, well, at the end of August, we can see a nice roll to the upside, nice bounce, quick recovery, all-time highs. But until we do not get a structure, maybe around here about 65, and ideally it respects the TA, and we come down here, hold support, I'm looking for structure down here, similar to what happened right around here, or even a touch, a tweezer bottom, some sort of quick recovery or indication that we're going to get that bounce. Now, of course, some of you are probably thinking, but Mike, what about if we fall even further? Guys, there's a lot of empty space. We can come down to 52. We could come down to 45. We could come down to much lower levels. Of course, all that is very possible. But until we get some reactions, bullish reactions, right, we don't know what's going to happen. And what I would like to see is it to come down here to 60,500, get that bullish reaction, and see how it behaves right around this level. If we see signs of weakness, trail up that stop loss, take profits off the top. The same thing what we did right into here, bullish patterns, run it up, take 10% off the top, trail up the stop loss right underneath this horizontal. We did the exact same thing. You should be in profits. You should have gotten stopped out based on this horizontal thick white line, and you should have taken 10% off the top. And that way, right now, you've exited your short-term spot position and are ready to deploy capital upon any evidence of a reversal to the upside. As of now, we're coming down, guys. Let's look at the oscillators. You can see that the momentum is still pushing down, right? We see a very clear indication that the momentum is pushing down. It didn't make a lower low just yet, so we got to be patient. The trend is still to the downside, and it's coming down pretty quickly. What concerns me is that in the short term, we can get a bit of a trap scenario where we get a mean reversion play. The purple and the yellow line tend to want to stay close together, and every time they kind of separate too far apart from one another, we get a mean reversion. We get the purple and the yellow trying to get back together, similar to what happened here. Look at that, extended away from each other, it bounces to get back together. Sometimes it leads to a reversal, sometimes it doesn't, such as here, boom, and then continuation down, such as this, look, boom, straight up and continuation down. Who knows if we do the same thing, get a bit of a mean reversion, get the purple and the yellow back together again, and then continue to the downside. It could be very possible that we see the momentum get oversold, and we see a bit of an expansion forming above. As you can see right here, this little expansion forming, it looks like the bears are in it. They're ready to push it down again. The volatility is oversold. It can hang out here for the next couple of days, as it did here in the past, and we can see the price push down a little bit longer. What I'm interested in seeing is what happens to the bulls when we see the orange line respond and it gets back to overbought conditions. What's going to happen to the momentum? Do we go for another higher high? Do we go for a lower high? Do we go for a double top? What do we do here with this momentum? Because we did make a lower high right here. Even though we did run up significantly here on the volume, on the volatility, on the bullish response of the volatility, are we going to make another lower high as we did here? And that's not a good sign, guys. If we make a lower high, it means that the trend is still intact. And if we see the price action get rejected, it's still not a good sign, because it means that we're getting a confirmation high, a lower high, and it's likely that we see the price continue to roll over in the immediate short term, coming down to much bearish price target. So really what I'm trying to say here, guys, is get into a bit of a bearish stance in the short term until we get some confidence into the confluence of the chart. There is none at the current moment. Let's look at the trend. The trend, EMA is facing down, red histogram bars to the downside. Guys, this is bearish. It looks pretty bearish. We closed candles bearishly yesterday, and everything else is looking pretty weak. So this is where we're at. We're anticipating more downside momentum. Now, we could continue. And, look into a little bit more detail here. But really, I think we should take it day by day and move on. Let's look at Ethereum. What is Ethereum up to? Ultimately, Ethereum, another heavyweight. We use it as a leading indicator to suggest what is happening with the altcoin market. A lower high, confirmation high, lower high. we're coming down. We broke a bit of structure below that yellow line. 3600 was my bullish target. If we stayed above it, we would maintain a bullish stance. We broke below it here, guys, and you got to admit we're still in a very strong accumulation range based on volume. You can see a lot of volume. I think that this is the level that we need to test. This is the liquidity hunt level, $3,900. If we come down here, we could hunt this liquidity here at the bottom. I can imagine many individuals putting stop losses underneath this level, which is at about 3,800 more or less. And we have the 200 daily. I would like to see a reaction on that 200 daily. And don't forget, the 200 daily also has that mean reversion attitude, in the sense that the price action and the 200 daily want to stay close together. And when they overextend from one another, the price tends to want to come back like a magnet. And then when they get close together, again, like a magnet, they want to push away. And here we are seeing it push away. Now it's going to come back and act like a magnet. Usually what we see when we see this type of consolidation is we see the 200 EMA, the orange line, eventually go flatlined. It goes sideways, and then we get a couple bounces. Maybe we break below, we break back above, spring off of it, and continue to the upside. So I feel what's going to be happening here, and it's very possible that we see this happen throughout the summer, is that we consolidate in this area. We go sideways for a little while. We produce a nice big bull flag right into this area, get some support right around 3,800 more or less, and then finally, maybe get that bounce where we start running to the upside and hitting, some really good bullish price targets. I think that we're gearing up for a nice parabolic run in the market, but not until we offload some of those major gainers, and then ultimately be able to buy some dips and accumulate some bullish bids so that we can break above those previous highs. Now all of a sudden we're coming down, guys, so just prepare, wait for those bottoms, indications of bottoms. We want structure. We want a W, an inverse head and shoulders, an Adam and Eve, a cup and handle with bullish divergence, and then we can start to, get a bit of confidence. But right around this level, I am interested to see how the price reacts if we get there. I'm also interested at this level because we're going to be touching this previous high, this previous low, and this is a very emotional level for the people that got into this breakout. But I would like to see how the liquidity gets hunted right around here, and if at the end of the day we get another buy up and we continue up. So I'm going to keep this on my radar. I like the $3,300 level, but I definitely want to keep an eye on it. I will not be deploying capital blindly right into that level until I get some confirmations. Let's look at the momentum, and let's take a look at the trend. Momentum at the end of the day still facing down. We got volatility, definitely oversold. We got that expansion like we do have on Bitcoin coming down, another bearish expansion to the downside after some sideways. Guys, this is the sideways was a bear flag. We saw a lot of the price action. It was a bear flag, but this wasn't really a bear flag. This was literally could be considered a Bart Simpson maybe, but not really. Went sideways, now it's rolling over. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so we are definitely trying to get oversold here. If we get oversold down to these levels, expect a much stronger continuation pattern. Now, the same way we got a mean reversion right into here, where we hesitated to wait for the yellow to catch up, could be the same thing that happens here. Very similar to this. We come down really hard with regards to momentum. We go sideways and then wait for the yellow to catch up and then slowly bleed out and get oversold. And once we get oversold, guys, we're going to have a lot of confluence in the chart to suggest let's start deploying on ETH, because ETH ultimately is looking for all-time highs in price discovery for sure. Let's take a look at the trend. The trend, EMA is facing down, red histogram bars to the downside, bearish, bearish, bearish. There's nothing here that could keep me bullish. We could say that maybe it's in a retracement phase. As long as it doesn't come lower than these bottoms, we're still okay, right? We're going to get this retracement, and then we continue to the upside and get another fat expansion to the upside where we see a nice parabolic run, very similar to what happened here. We need a little bit more of an expansion to the upside. So Ethereum also, very similar to Bitcoin, is looking a bit bearish here, guys. What do we do in the immediate short term? Be patient. Be very patient and wait for structural support. And I anticipate that this level right here, about 3,800, could be the level where we get support. And I'm keeping 3,300 on my watch list just in case we do end up stopping, getting a reversal right around that zone. Guys, the market is looking interesting. Join me live tonight at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. I'll take all the requests. We'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance. We'll take a look at the market in an objective where we should be looking for opportunities at bottom dwelling price action. The question is, where are those bottoms, guys? Where are those bottoms, guys? Again, if I've offered you any value, make sure that you slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. I'll see you tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.